Hey folks, just a quick heads up. Every Sunday morning, I am live streaming from Chiang Rai, specifically to answer your questions. So if you live on my side of the globe, in Bangkok it will be at 0630. If you're in London, it'll be at 0030, which is 30 minutes past midnight. And in Sydney, Australia, it's at 9:30 a.m. 0930. If you're on the other side of the globe, it will be on Saturday in Los Angeles at 16:30, Chicago at 18:30, and New York at 19:30. Okay, you're all invited. I'll be there. I hope you are too. Good morning, Bill. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, Brash Brash. Hi, how goes it? Yeah. Um, oh, listen, this morning I wanted to talk a little about something that gets a lot of people in trouble, and it's nuances. But anyway, look, I'm just going to start it out. This is your time, not mine. So if you want to change the subject, feel free to do so. Um, but there is a caveat, and that is that the responses I give are provided with the understanding that I am not engaged in rendering legal advice, accounting advice, tax advice, immigration, or any other professional advice. You know, some things may have changed since I last checked, so do your due diligence and if need be, consult a professional. But anyway, I thought I'd talk a little about this nuances and our humor because the Thais just don't get it. Have you noticed anything um, yourselves, Brash or Bill? There are some things that we think are funny, but the Thais just don't get it, and it can be taken wrongly. It can cause them to lose face. It can cause them to get angry. And one of them is British humour. And why? Because it's got a wealth of satire aimed at the absurdity of everyday life. And that's not going to come over well. Yeah, brash. They're not. Not irreverent at all. Um, Common themes of nuances and things are sarcasm, tongue in cheek, banter, insults, self deprecation, taboo subjects, puns, innuendo, wit, and the British class system. Um, the delivery style is typically deadpan, often used to bury emotions in a way that seems unkind in the eyes of other cultures, Thailand being one. And the other is controversial subjects. Jokes are told about everything, and almost no subject is off limits because of a lack of subtlety when discussing controversial issues. It's sometimes considered insensitive. Anyway, the language nuances that they don't understand. Yeah, I'll tell you about some of them, Bill. Let's take 10 common innuendos used in the USA. That's what she said. Now, this phrase is often used, what, humorously, but to imply a sexual innuendo. And, if you say that to a Thai person, they're going to say, who is she? They're just not going to understand it. So, that humor's not going to work. Knock that one off the list. Now, here's one that's American, and I'm not familiar with it, but maybe you are. You can tell me. Netflix and chill. Originally a euphemism for casual sex. I've been around 78 years almost, and I never heard that before. Anyway, um, another one is backdoor, which can imply a hidden or alternative method, right? Stud. is used to subtly refer to someone as sexually attractive. Okay, stud. So it can be used subtly to refer to someone as sexually attractive, right? Another one, morning wood. Well, I think I know the meaning of that, and I'm pretty sure you do. A term used to describe male arousal in the morning. Well, happy ending, they say is American innuendo, but I think everybody over here understands what that means. Deep dive. That can suggest a thorough investigation, but also has sexual connotations. Yes, Bill. I think Aussies and Brits are probably the worst, actually, because we're very spontaneous with our humor, depending on the situation. And yeah, our humor is not going to it's not going to be understood. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. Roger, good morning, Roger. Roger Manifold. Hi, Ray. Question: I've often wondered if a non-Thai buy a house and his Thai wife dies, where would this leave the expat? Would you still have to leave the home? Okay, look, I don't know real estate law, but a little bit of what I do understand, Roger, is that first off, we cannot own land, right? As a foreigner, we cannot own land. So many people buy it in their wife's name, or some in their girlfriend's name, which can be a very big mistake. Um, but if that partner dies, as I understand it, the only way that you can stay there is if there was a will, for lack of a better word, or agreement, a contract, or something between you and the spouse that died that said that you can continue to live in the property until you're dead or whatever. Um, the only other option you have then is of course to sell it. But look, talk to a lawyer, talk to a real estate professional. Don't take what I say for gospel. I've not done much in the real estate business. So Roger, I hope that gives you some answer, if not the total answer. Bill says he actually lost a job because my Asian female boss thought I was a asshole, but I was just being friendly. Yes, yes. Look, I get the same problem as Bill, even within my relationship with my wife in my marriage. Um, I, it's like you go on automatic pilot. You know, it's like there's a tape that's been recorded in your brain, and when certain things happen, you come out with certain responses. I mean, the other day, my wife was asking where something was, and I told her it was the same place as it was yesterday. And that didn't go over well. uh, yeah, 212 Roger. Love your honesty. Yeah, Roger, if you haven't got honesty, what have you got? We've got to be honest here. Yeah, Bill, you calling your mates numb nuts, knackers, and the like doesn't surprise me. After all, I learned the other day that you know the drill. Um, okay, so another one, they have is behind closed doors. That just means the door is closed to a tie. It doesn't imply secrecy or privacy or any other sexual connotations that there are. Another one is in the sack, all right, which obviously refers to sexual activity or being in bed together. Now let's talk about you bloody Australians. Let's have 10 common innuendos in Australia that Thais won't understand. Throw a snag on the barbie, right? That refers to cooking sausages on the barbecue, but can have a playful innuendo. Sticky beak. refers to being nosy or prying into someone's business. My mother used to call me a sticky beak because I was always very inquisitive about everything. Everything. uh, so I was a sticky beak. Root. Now, in Australia, this word definitely has a sexual connotation. I kind of find it funny, really. That's a strange word to me. I feel, yeah. After spending so many years in America, when I came back and I heard that word again, it just sounded so, I don't know, I can't explain it. It just didn't sound right. Up the duff. Who's up the duff? A slang term for being pregnant. Bite the bullet can imply facing a difficult situation, but it also has a sexual undertone. Oh, and here's one every Aussie knows, full as a bull. And that refers to being very drunk, but can also imply sexual prowess. Yeah, I haven't heard this one for a while either. Dunny. Now we all know what the dunny is. That's a slang term for toilet, which can be used in a humorous or even a suggestive manner. And then there's the old bum bag that refers to the fanny pack, but can have a cheeky innuendo. And one of my favourites, flat out drinking like a lizard. Well, that indicates being very busy, but it can also imply sexual activity. Have a gander simply means have a look, but in certain contexts, it can have a suggestive meaning. So anyway, these innuendos, they reflect the cultural nuances and humour present in both American and Australian slang. And now I'll give you some common innuendos in British English. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Right? What's that all about? It's a phrase used to imply a sexual innuendo, often accompanied by nudging and winking. Carry On. The Carry On films were notorious for their bawdy humour and innuendos. Just looking at Bill, what did you write there? You said the latest one that Aussie tradies, yobbos, in Australia, tradie means tradesman. Yobbos are workers, they're not really workers. They're yobbos. And they're using which words once upon a time would have been a highly offensive word, which is, I can't say it, but I'll spell it. C asterisk hash T. Bill. It seems like any time now that these words, there's no words that are really offensive to anybody anymore, isn't it? There seems to be no respect. I still don't use bad language around my wife or any other woman. It's just something there's something inside me that just doesn't let me do that. But I did use the word fuck once, and my wife was very offended. It was almost like I had insulted her, and so that language isn't good here. I can't speak for other countries, but it's not good here. Another one was Round the Horn. The radio, it was a comedy show. It featured characters, Julian and Sandy, who used innuendos extensively. And in the 20th century, saucy postcards became a real thing, which were, cartoon-style postcards featuring bawdy, innuendo, and double entendres became widespread. Smut and innuendo. The Carry On series was what do I want to say? It was largely based on this type of humor, smut and innuendo. And then there's Nudge Nudge. That was a Monty Python sketch that openly mocked the absurdity of innuendo. Uh, Now another one from you Aussies. Throwing a wobbly. Yeah, it's really a British expression, but it means to have a tantrum, often used when describing adults. Another one for you drillers out there. Can't be asked. And I didn't mean those drillers. No, 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 no. Can't be asked. A less polite way of saying you can't be bothered doing something. Yeah? Taking the piss means to mock or be sarcastic towards something. Pissed, one of many originally British terms for being drunk. And so innuendos reflect the long history of bawdy humour and double entendres in British comedy, from Shakespeare to modern TV and film. But you've got to steer clear of it here. Most humour that you will um, try to use here, they won't understand it. Because often we say something, and it's difficult for me to try to think spur on the moment of what some of these things are. But we say things we say it's black when we really mean it's white, and everybody else understands that. They see, we say black, they see white, they laugh, they have a funny time. So it's a great joke, all good. But people in other countries, and especially Asia, the Dutch are okay. I spent time with them. Their sense of humor is very similar to mine. The Americans are very different. American humor is very different to Australian humor. Um, and sometimes Australian humor didn't work too well over there all the time. I spent 25 years there, so I know. I even had to learn how to pronounce my name over again. Um, yeah, that's a true story. Um, but humor is pretty much often it's cultural. Um, so they just don't get it in Thailand. Okay, let's find something to talk about here. I decided that I was going to use that just to open up and get things going, but I didn't come here with a plan to do some long dialogue. So if you've got anything you'd like to ask, that would be good. Waiting. Bill. Um, Bill asked, have I considered filming some footage in and around Chiang Rai? I've actually done that, Bill. My very, very, very first video was quite a bit of different footage around Chiang Rai. And I'm thinking about going, and I've done some, about three, maybe two or three inside the city, just in the main area. Um, and I have been thinking about getting out and doing some more um, local videos, but I'm not going to do it in this heat and the humidity. It's just going to have to wait until about October, November. Brash, brash. I really can't tell you what type of humor that Thais appreciate, but from what I can gather, I would equate it almost to something like um, German. You know, I remember the German joke about the horse that walked into a bar and the bartender said, "Why the long face?" You know, now Germans find that hilarious, and I think Thais would too. Their sense of humor is very different. Um, okay, so that answers that question. Who's next? Even boring things like shopping, auctions, restaurant. Bill, I think you're asking for video of shopping and restaurants. Is that what I'm getting there? I think so. Oh, on my video. Um, yeah, I did a lot of them with different cafes, mainly coffee shops, um, and yeah, I wanted to do more with the general shop owners too, but they're not very compliant. They weren't very interested in doing that. I think probably mainly due to shyness because their English is not good and it embarrasses them and they don't want to lose face. I kind of understand that. Where were we? Yeah, so what type of humor do Thais appreciate? Yeah, as I said, a bit like German. Does Chiang Rai have a shopping mall? Well, actually, Bill, we have three that would qualify as a shopping mall. I think one is about I don't know, 40 years old, I guess, and that's called Big C. And then after Big C, that Big C was really mainly a big department store. It has just everything: groceries, TVs, appliances. You name it, it's got it. And then they opened another one. I believe it was probably about 15 or 16 years ago, called Central Plaza. And Central Plaza has, I think, 4 floors. And it's much like a mall that you'd see anywhere around America or Australia or England. It's a normal mall where they have Robinsons and sportswear and many little cafes and restaurants and things like that. So yeah, we do. Um, so inflation in Thailand, Roger. Does Chiang Rai have a shopping? Roger Manifold. How noticeable is inflation in Thailand over the last few years? Okay. Well, Roger, I don't do the daily shopping, but my wife often comes home and says, "Oh, eggs are up again, or potatoes are up again, or whatever." Where I've noticed it most is in the cost of fuel. Um, it's almost doubled. It's just about double what it used to be. Electricity, that's still the same. Nothing has changed. The cost of water and basic amenities, none of that has changed. Um, I don't think. I mean, our inflation hasn't been like the U.S. Or Australia. Our inflation it's had minimal effect, but of course some. But I haven't felt it. Not really. How noticeable was Bill Simpson? Okay, so it's a big town, small city then? Yeah, I would call it a small city, more so than a big town. Excuse me. I've got to tell this person to go talk somewhere else. I'll be back in a moment. Peter, I'm making video. Sorry about that. That's another thing about Thais. They'll just start talking whenever they want to. You can be sitting around talking to somebody about something, anything, and somebody will walk up and just butt right into the conversation. And that's quite acceptable. Nobody gets upset about it. And so I had that guy out there. He's just talking away to somebody. Okay, so small. Yeah, so I guess people would describe it as a small city or a big town. I think the population here is about 70,000 in the city and 2 million in the province. And of course, you compare that to Chiang Mai, and Chiang Mai's got 120,000. I think 120,000 people living. No, 200 and something thousand, 210, I think. So obviously, Chiang Mai is much larger, but I'd call it a small city. Yeah. Uh, so living in Chiang Rai, you wouldn't feel like you're going without then. Oh hell no, Bill. No, 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 not at all. I do feel like I'm going without two things. One that I really miss is lamb. A nice leg of lamb, a nice roast lamb. A leg of lamb here is horrendously expensive. The Thais don't eat lamb; they think it's got a bad smell. And of course, the Muslim community around here eats some goat, but that's very expensive too. So I miss that. And the other thing I miss is a nice, tender, tasty steak. Yeah, Thai beef is it's about you could make shoes out of it. It's not tender. It's very tough, very chewy, very chewy, not tasty. My wife just came downstairs, and I had to tell her to shh. I told her last night. She obviously forgot. This this 6:30 in the morning, I chose this time because nobody's up at 6:30 in the morning in this household except me. And now there's a new project going on, and people are getting up earlier. And I suspect this project might go on for maybe a month. I'm not sure. So expect some interruptions. I mean, after all, this is live. I can't edit it, can I? Although I was going to actually video it, but I forgot. Um, Living in Chiang Rai. No, I don't feel like I'm going without. The only thing I'm going without really is uh, food, conversation. Um, I miss some of that because I can't have a deep conversation here with anybody unless I go to a bar and hang around with some expats and drink, and that's just not me. I'm not into that. Um, brash. What's the best thing about living in Thailand? Freedom, peace. Um, if you shut yourself off from the rest of the world, especially the politics, there's a sense of it's the old term, ignorance is bliss. I can promise you it is. I don't read foreign news stories. I don't watch YouTube from Australia or from America or any other place because I don't want the bad news. Bye bye, love. I just don't want the bad news. I don't want to think about it. I have people that want to talk about, some raging war. I don't want to know. I don't have to know. I'm here in Thailand. I don't understand their politics and their language. I can't read it, and I don't watch Thai politics. Why? Um, so Yeah, totally stress free. I like that. I don't want to think. I don't want to sit around and think about things like the end of the world is coming and we're going to all be flooded. Yeah, look, if it happens, it happens. But I don't want to know about it in the meantime. It's just like cancer or death. I'm not afraid of dying, but I don't like the process of dying. You know, so I don't want to think about it. I just go on. The other thing I like here is there's so many freedoms. I mean, there's not a cop standing on every corner with a radar gun. Um, and that can have a bad side too because there's a lot of drunk drivers and there's no cops out there to catch them. Um, if I want to build a house, I buy the land. Well, as a tie, not me, I can't do it. But if someone wants to buy a house, they can buy the land. They can then design the house they want and build it. The city needs to approve it, but only to make sure that it looks safe or whatever. Not that it blends in with the neighborhood. It has to be painted ochre brown or green or any other color. It just is what it is. Um, so, what do they call that? Zoning? No, it's not zoning. Zoning is commercial and so forth, right? But yeah, there are many freedoms that you just don't know them until they happen to you. And even then, you don't recognize and think about it. I don't spend my day walking around thinking, oh, how is this different from Australia? Or how is this different from America? And by the way, I strongly suggest that no matter what you believe, if you just because you think your way is best, don't try and impose that here. It won't work. It won't work. Um, so yeah, freedom. Um, I like the and there's no the streets are not full of animosity. There's no great division of the people here. Uh, the drug problems that America seems to have I mean, our meth problem here is nothing compared to that. Um, it's just much better. Bye bye, love. My lovely wife is on her way out to work in her garden. It's a new project that they're working on out there, and I'm going to make a video about it as the progress goes along. I made one. Well, it'll be a. I'll keep it all until it's all together and do it then. But what's happening is we have about an acre of land down by the river, and my wife spotted a wooden house for sale. It's sitting on a lot where the owner of the lot wants to do farming on it. He wants to grow stuff there, so he wanted to get rid of this wooden house. And the wooden house, I think it's about it was 80, 81 square meters or something like that. So Jen negotiated to buy the wooden house, just the house, not the property. And so she bought the house. We bought it for 50,000 baht. Had the timber evaluated at 200,000 baht. And so now we've just today that house it's been torn apart, put on trucks, and is being delivered to our land today. And Jen's plan next, and I'm out of this if I'll tell you in a minute. Jen's plan is she's going to build a coffee shop there. Don't know what it's going to be called yet. She's going to build a coffee shop, and then once the coffee shop is built, there'll be an attached house behind it, and she's going to use all of this wood to build a large part of the house instead of making it out of damn cement and bricks and so forth. Now I say Jen's going to do all this, and I mean that because I'm not going to get involved. I've been there, I've done that. I'm not going to do it again. I go to these sites and I see these people doing things, And I can see it's completely wrong in my mind. That's the key, by the way, in my mind. And if I try to change the way they're doing it, it isn't going to happen. You know, I can show them my way without saying it's better. Just show them my way, and they'll look and they'll nod their heads and scratch their chins and go back to doing it their way. So, me being involved in this project in any way other than as an observer is only going to be frustrating. I'm staying out of it. Okay, best advice I can give you: stay out of it. Don't try to tell a Thai person a better way. Their way is best. I don't listen to too many other people. What else is going on down here? I'm having a roast lamb. Jesus, Bill Simpson. I didn't need to hear that. You know, I told you I try to live a stress-free life, and that doesn't help. Uh, Bought a 4 by 600 gram porterhouse steak. Yeah, yes, Brash. Freedom and peace. They are good. Oh, Roger. How many times did I visit Thailand before I decided to live here? I didn't. I didn't. I had a list of countries that I wanted to um, check out, and Thailand was one of them. But my first uh, exposure to Thailand really was in London. When I was in London, I was had a friends with a Thai family, and they were such lovely, lovely people. I had never met people as nice anywhere at any time in my life, and we spent a lot of time together. And I just they intrigued me, wanted me to go to Thailand with them sometime, but I never had that opportunity. But anyway, when I got close to retirement, thinking about what I was going to do, I went to Bali and I visited there, and there's a few drawbacks on that. So that 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 uh, that that got washed aside. I checked out Malaysia. I checked out the Philippines. I checked out. No, that was about it. Um, and then I did a lot of research online about Thailand, and in particular Chiang Rai, because that was where my friends were originally from. I, I hoped I'd find them, but I didn't. And when I got here, I actually decided to try Chiang Mai because Chiang Mai had an airport. It was bigger, and etc. etc. Little did I know what the air quality was like, and I couldn't breathe properly there. The doctor told me to get out, so I came to Chiang Rai. Um, so I did, but I'm the kind of person that when I make a commitment, I make a commitment, and I committed to it. I just moved over here without ever visiting before. Well, obviously, I wasn't here for the trade that 80% of the people coming here are coming for. But yeah, yeah. So I didn't visit at all. I just came out here and I lived here. Yeah. Do you have an email address that you would make public, Ray? Yeah, I do, and in fact, it's in the description at the bottom of almost all of my videos. Well, I think all of my videos. I'll be happy to tell you it's simple. Life in the Rye, and the Rye is spelled RAI at gmail.com. I don't know if I can. Can I type anything here? I've never tried that. Reactions. What's that? Reactions. Pop out chat. Timestamps. Oh, I don't know. Oh, yes, I can. Here, I'll type my life in the rye@gmail.com. All right. There, that's my email address for anybody that wants it. It's open. Feel free to write, ask anything you want. If I can answer, I will. If I can't answer, I'll try and point you in the direction of someone who can. No matter what the subject may be, just go ahead and do it. And yes, Marcus Mustard, commitment is key. If you're not committed to something, then don't really do it. And you're from the USA. Hello, welcome. Marcus, Bali, Indonesia. Interesting. Well, it depends on what you're looking for, I guess. I like Bali, and I really, that was my first choice for retirement. But when I found out that to live there, I had to hire a full-time Indonesian person to do something, cooking, house cleaning, working, whatever. But I had to hire a full-time employee. I didn't like that idea much. I had to have at that time mandatory health insurance, and that wasn't cheap. I didn't like that very much. I didn't like the fact that when you rented a property, you couldn't rent for less than, I think, about 6 months or something, and you paid all the rent in advance. So if the area didn't work out well, you kind of were stuck. You paid. So those are the kinds of things that put me off of Bali. And now, from what I understand, it's about the same, if not worse. Anyway, yeah, commitment is key. Bali is interesting. Bill, you've sent me an email, have you? Forgive me, I'm not going to open it up right now. I'll have a look at it and I'll answer you, I promise. Marcus Mustard, oh no, not 6 months rent minimum in advance, pass next. No, yeah, so if you rent for a year, you pay a rent for a year in advance. Marcus, I don't know much about the rental market in the States, but the rental market here is well, it's about the same as it always was. The rental prices haven't gone up very much. You can still rent a 2-bedroom bungalow, single story house for anywhere from 10, 12,000 baht a month. If you move out of the city a little bit, it even gets better, and it's always pretty much been that way. So we haven't been hit like that. The rental market is a huge issue. The rental market is a sensitive topic for me here. Well, that tells me that you might be in the real estate business, or you've got a rental property or something, I guess. But I don't want to second guess you or anybody else. Marcus, I agree with your mother. If you haven't got anything good to say, keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. Okay. So you're a tenant, Marcus, and yeah, I can see why your frustrations are. I guess the rent's going up all the time, and I know when I lived in the States, rent was not cheap then. Well, it's never really been cheap. Okay. Well, look, I don't really have anything else to talk about. I've got no other questions up here. So I don't see why I should bore you guys anymore this morning. We've only gone 45 minutes. I'd like to do a little longer, but never mind. Yeah, I lived Marcus, I lived in California in San Diego for 8 years, and I lived in Houston for 16 years. And I can tell you, I think that the cost of living and rentals in Houston was far lower than San Diego. I don't know where you're living, but San Diego was really awful, yeah, in prices. And I mean, I got by. I had a good job and I was making fair money, but many people they couldn't afford to live in California. No, there's no train from Chiang Rai to Bangkok, Bill. The train line ends at Chiang Mai, and I don't know of any plans to extend it up here. So you've only got, if you want to go by train to Bangkok, excuse me, to Bangkok, you need to catch a bus down to Chiang Mai and then hop on the train from there. Uh, oh, you see, quick one. You said that's another kind of an innuendo, right? Cost and lack of options on top of bureaucracy to apply for an apartment in the Marcus Mustard. Marcus, what do you mean to apply? Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the application that you got to fill out if you want to rent a property, and then the background check that of whatever kind, the credit check and everything else they go through to check you out. Is that what you're talking about? That's what I was used to. And when I came to Thailand, I actually got a letter of reference from my landlord in Australia, thinking I would need it. But hell, they don't want to know anything here. If you've got the money, they'll rent you the house. It's pretty much as simple as that. Uh, the only thing that might put some stop in the way is if you have pets. Do they want pets or don't they? But there's no big long application. There's no real estate agent checking you out. It's so much simpler. Marcus, I think you're beginning to feel very unsettled, and I can't say I blame you. I couldn't wait to get out of there. Yeah, there's a huge appeal here, Marcus. There's many things. I can't think of them off the top of my head on a daily basis, especially when I'm sitting around trying to think about what they might be. But this place is totally different to any place I've ever lived, and I really wish I'd lived here all my bloody life, to tell you the truth. Okay, folks. Any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to call it a day. We'll say the fat lady has sung already. Do you have a kitchen, outdoor cooking, barbecue? Okay, Marcus. A typical Thai family, not the very low one. I'll talk about a typical middle class, lower middle class Thai family. Will have a house with a indoor kitchen and an outdoor kitchen. And yes, they have their little barbecue pots. Now, the reason they have an indoor and an outdoor kitchen is because some of the foods that Thai people cook, uh, you can't sit in the house. It'll burn your eyes. The smell or whatever it is, it'll burn your eyes. It'll make you sneeze and cough and carry on. So they have an outdoor kitchen where they cook that deadly stuff. Um, and then, of course, yeah, like anybody else, they like barbecues, But typically, they use that little, I forget what they call them. It's a little round Japanese type thing, and it's made of ceramic or concrete. And they put charcoal in the bottom and put skewers over the top of it. But barbecue, yes. Can a foreigner buy property in Thailand? Dale, the simple answer to that is no. There are ways that a foreigner can buy property in Thailand, but that would be by setting up a limited company and buying the property in the name of the limited company. Um, or I have heard, I don't know how valid this is because but I've heard that a foreigner can buy land that has no title. It's called, no not, um, and he can buy and own that. But I'm not too sure that that's 100% accurate. So go with the no. You can't buy land unless you have a limited company or you buy it in somebody else's name. Brash, Brash, you have a great day too, my friend. Bill, yep, you take care. Marcus, okay, sounds good. I would eat out a lot. Yeah, well, eating out is it can be cheap and it can be expensive. If you eat out and eat Western food all the time, your budget's going to be pretty high. If you go out and eat local Thai food where you're paying 50, 55, 60 baht for a meal, you'll do great. Yes, Marcus, YouTube is helpful. It can also be dangerous because there are some bloody liars out there and there are some doom and gloomers and so forth. So, uh, good luck with it. Okay, folks, I think we'll call it a day at that or a morning. I'm just about ready for some breakfast. And I'll keep you posted. As I said, I want to make a video of this process of building the house. It's going to be interesting from a couple of points because you'll see how they do it, um, and what they do, and their methods and their equipment and so forth in building a house. So for Bill Simpson, it might even be interesting because they'll be drilling some holes. Bill will understand what I mean. Okay, folks. Enjoy your week. See you next Sunday, same time, same place. But this time, get your questions ready because I probably won't have anything to talk about. Okay, bye, folks.